Hey, everybody. Good morning. I'm Mark Halpern, host of Next Up, filling in today for the great Megyn Kelly. It's Wednesday, October 15th, 2025, and this is your AM update.
And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
President Trump issuing a stern warning to Hamas while the terrorist organization and Israel accuse one another of violating the terms of the new ceasefire.
Now I can say with confidence, Mr. President, that you have given him the best birthday gift he could ever have.
Charlie Kirk posthumously awarded the nation's highest civilian honor at the White House. Memphis residents celebrate the newfound safety in their community as the Department of Justice touts hundreds of arrests in just 2 weeks since the start of the federal surge there. And the man accused of attacking Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home pleads guilty. All that and more coming up in just a moment here on your AM Update.
Flu season always seems to sneak up on us. One day everyone's fine, and the next you've got someone sick at home and you're scrambling to find the right medication. Here's my advice. Don't wait until you're sick. Be ready ahead of time so you have what you need on hand when it matters most. Now there's All Family Pharmacy. They're different from the big chains. Their process is simple, straightforward, and fast. Every order is reviewed by a licensed doctor, the prescription is included, and you don't need insurance. They've got everything you'd want for flu season: Tamiflu, antibiotics, antivirals, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, even a complete flu kit and immune support vitamins. They ship to your door, and if you need it right away, they even offer overnight shipping. Be prepared with All Family Pharmacy. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Megyn. Use the code Megyn10 to save 10% on your order. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/Megyn. Use code Megyn10 to save 10%. Get ahead of flu season and start preparing today.
One day after the historic Gaza peace summit, Israel and Hamas accusing one another of violating the terms of the New Deal. Hamas saying the Israeli military killed several Gaza residents in violation of that ceasefire. The Wall Street Journal reporting Israel military officials say troops were forced to open fire when suspects crossed the so-called yellow line, defining where Israeli troops are allowed to be in Gaza. Meanwhile, the Associated Press is reporting Israel is planning to cut aid deliveries in half due to Hamas's delayed return of the bodies of deceased hostages. Phase 1 of the deal, calling for the return of all hostages, living and dead. 4 bodies have been returned and positively identified so far. 24 remain within Gaza. Hamas officials saying some of the bodies are trapped under the rubble there. A Red Cross spokesperson telling Sky News it could take days or even weeks to locate all of the remains, and some may never be found. Since the beginning of the ceasefire, multiple outlets reporting on violent conflicts between Hamas operatives and rival gangs across Gaza. Violent place. Videos circulating on social media showing mass soldiers gunning down 8 people in Gaza City with large crowds gathered to observe. The White House's 20-point plan calling for Hamas to disarm and give up control of the government. On Tuesday, at the White House, President Trump issuing a stern warning to the remaining Hamas fighters.
Mr. President, on Gaza, how long will it take Hamas to disarm, and can you guarantee that is going to happen?
Well, they're going to disarm, and because they said they were going to disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
How will you do that?
I don't have to explain that to you. But if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. They know I'm not playing games. We did something monumental. We got the hostages back. That was the first thing we had to do. Above all else, get the hostages back. Now, they misrepresented because we were told they had 26, 24 of dead hostages, if we can use those terms. And it seems as though they don't have that because we're talking about a much lesser number. But that's a very tough subject. I want them back. That's what they said. I want them back. But we have told them we want disarm, and they will disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently. But they will disarm. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Also at the White House, on a lighter note, President Trump crediting the media for its coverage of the deal.
What's taken place in the last few days, people can't believe it. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen the love and the spirit. And I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of deals. I've done a lot of political deals where countries come into line or whatever. But I've never seen anything like this. The media covered it very fairly. And even the fake news, of which we have a lot, they actually covered it fairly for a change. And I appreciated that. We have to get back to that. It's so important.
However, despite that praise to the press, Mr. Trump earlier in the day on Truth Social singling out Time magazine for its choice in cover photo. Here's the quote from the president. Time magazine wrote a relatively good story about me, but the picture may be the worst of all time. They, quote, disappeared my hair, and that had something floating on the top of my head that looked like a floating crown, but an extremely small one. Really weird. I never liked taking pictures from underneath angles, but this is a super bad picture and deserves to be called out. What are they doing and why? Donald Trump is obsessed with covers of magazines, and Time magazine maybe most of all. So no surprise, it is a kind of a weird picture. President Trump posthumously awarding Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's the nation's highest civilian honor yesterday at the White House on what would have been the Turning Point USA founder's 32nd birthday.
Today we're here to honor and remember a fearless warrior for liberty, beloved leader who galvanized the next generation like nobody I've ever seen before, and an American patriot of the deepest conviction, the finest quality and the highest caliber, the late, great Charlie Kirk. He was assassinated in the prime of his life for boldly speaking the truth, for living his faith and relentlessly fighting for a better and stronger America. He loved this country. And that's why this afternoon it's my privilege to posthumously award Charles James Kirk, our nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you. As I said, on the day that he was assassinated, Charlie Kirk was a martyr for truth and for freedom. He was put on earth to do exactly what he was doing. He didn't want to waste time. He would have been a top student at any college in the country. I know the college as well. He's smarter than the guys there. He was so smart.
Charlie Kirk was assassinated on September 10th at a campus tour stop at Utah Valley University. 2 weeks after Charlie's death, Turning Point USA reporting the organization received more than 121,000 requests to start new chapters or get involved with an existing chapter. More from President Trump.
In the hearts of our nation's youth, that's where Charlie rode strongest. At age 18, that insight inspired Charlie to found the organization that ultimately touched the lives of millions and millions of people, and so many young people that nobody's ever seen anything like it, frankly. Turning Point USA. It's amazing, and it's actually bigger now. It's become bigger in the last few weeks than Charlie ever thought. With hard work and joyful spirit and endless enthusiasm and determination. And he did have great enthusiasm. I always say you need enthusiasm to be successful. He had great enthusiasm. Charlie grew Turning Point into the largest conservative youth organization in the entire country. He forged a personal bond with countless young conservatives. He fought for free speech, religious liberty, strong borders, and a very strong and proud America. In everything he did, he put America first. He really put America first.
Charlie's widow and chairman and CEO of Turning Point USA, Erica Kirk, accepting the medal on his behalf.
And to the Turning Point USA chapters that are watching all across America right now, you are the heartbeat of this future and of this movement. Everything that Charlie built, you guys are the legacy holders of that. You are living proof that his mission did not die with him. It lives through you. And Charlie always said the next generation will decide whether freedom endures. And because of you, I know that freedom will endure. The very existence of the Presidential Medal of Freedom reminds us that the national interest of the United States has always been freedom. Our founders etched it into the preamble of our Constitution, and those words are not relics on parchment. They are a living covenant. The blessings of liberty are not man's invention, they are God's endowment. Charlie lived for those blessings, not as abstract words, but as sacred promises. Honestly, President Trump, I have spent 7.5 years trying to find the perfect birthday gift for Charlie. Now I can say with confidence, Mr. President, that you have given him the best birthday gift he could ever have.
Incredible speech, an incredible moment. Coming up, Memphis locals taking to social media to thank President Trump and federal agents for making one of America's most dangerous cities livable again. And the man accused of lighting Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home on fire, pleading guilty to all charges.
You know all those fad diets. Half of Americans do it. And if you do it enough, you could be at risk of diabetes, liver damage, heart attack, and stroke. Weight cycling is when you lose 10 or more pounds, but then you put the pounds back on, plus a couple more. That puts tremendous strain on your organs and can lead to serious health issues. Bottom line, most people need help to stop weight cycling. And this is why I want to tell you about non-prescription lean, created by doctors. Lean is an oral supplement, not a GLP-1 injectable. It uses studied ingredients, which Lean says target weight loss in 3 powerful ways: maintaining healthy blood sugar, helping control appetite and cravings, burning fat by converting it to energy. And burning fat helps keep the weight off. If you want to lose meaningful weight at a healthy pace and keep it off, consider adding Lean to your diet and exercise lifestyle. Get 20% off when you enter MK at takelean.com. That's code MK at takelean.com.
The DOJ announcing more than 800 arrests made by the Memphis Safe Task Force in just 2 weeks. More than 1,500 federal agents from a dozen agencies surging one of America's most dangerous cities, according to the U.S. Marshal Service. From September 29th through October 12th, the DOJ reporting the arrest of 6 homicide suspects, 79 narcotics offenses, 94 firearm offenses, and 34 sex offenses. The DOJ also reporting 161 administrative arrests, referring to immigration violations. On Tuesday morning, state and local officials holding a press conference to update the press on the efforts so far. Republican Governor Bill Lee saying aspects of the task force will remain in effect on a permanent basis.
I've said before, I think we will execute on this operation as long as it takes. The way we will measure success, obviously, is by violent crime and the reduction of that crime. We've just begun. And in fact, I will tell you that it will last forever, because what we believe will happen is the numbers of law enforcement agents from different agencies will change depending on the mission at the moment. It'll be mission dependent. But we know that the surge that has taken place currently, or that is taking place currently, that surge will diminish at some point. But what we learned from that surge, the collaboration that is happening right now between the U.S. Marshal Service and the Memphis Police Department and the FBI and the DEA and the Tennessee Highway Patrol, that collaboration will be here from now on. So this operation in some ways may never end. It'll just change in its scope.
Director of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, David Roush, providing information on the missing children that have been recovered so far.
Our team has been working very closely from the start with this, focusing on recovering missing children. And we have been working very closely with Homeland Security investigations, with the FBI. And so we've had 137 when we started the operation that have been identified. And of those, at this point, 45 have been identified or recovered. People will say, well, who are these missing children? Vast majority are runaways. The other piece to this that's really important is if they're not recovered, what happens to them? And, most people understand human trafficking. They see it as something that happens with people being brought in from other countries. That's not the only aspect. As a matter of fact, the more popular aspect of human trafficking is these young people who run away and end up getting into situations that they can't get out of. And they end up in a trafficking situation. And so doing these operations keeps that from happening to these children.
Memphis Mayor Paul Young, a Democrat, praising the work of the task force and shining light on how it has impacted his local community.
I am hopeful that this is going to be a point in history where we have been able to truly get a handle on crime and sustain the progress that we gain. One text that I got just yesterday gave me some encouragement. There was a teacher at a school in Fraser who texted me that she had a conversation with some of her 5th graders who live in an apartment complex in the area. And in that apartment complex, there had been portions of this operation taking place, and those 5th graders came to her and said that they were really excited because they're now going to be able to play outside all fall. As we go through this initiative and this point in history, I think it's important that we think about the people, our young people, and how we are enhancing their quality of life for many years to come and what that will mean for our great city.
That sentiment echoed on social media, Memphis residents thanking President Trump, describing how their lives have improved since the beginning of this surge.
Not into politics, but I will say thank you to Trump for bringing these National Guards and doing what they're doing down here in Memphis right now. For the first time, my kids have been able to play in the backyard and be able to do it comfortably. I haven't heard a gunshot in 2 weeks.
Since they brought the National Guard down to Memphis, I ain't heard no screeching tires out late at night. I ain't heard no gunshots.
These folks done got 16 convicted murderers off the streets in 1 week. I would be lying if I ain't just read them numbers and say, damn, that's a good thing for Memphis.
Trump, I just want to let you know, man, I got to stand with you. You sent them people here and they cleaned up our motherfucking streets. I'm talking about they cleaned them good.
Cody Balmer pleading guilty on Tuesday to all charges relating to the April arson attack on Pennsylvania Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro's residence. As part of a plea deal with prosecutors, Balmer will spend between 25 and 50 years in prison. The charges included attempted murder of Governor Shapiro, aggravated arson, 22 counts of arson, burglary, and more. Prosecutors releasing security footage of the attack showing Balmer breaking a window of the home, then throwing a Molotov cocktail inside, starting a fire. Balmer then breaking a second window and entering the home. Security footage showing Balmer hitting 2 doors, including one leading to where the governor and his family were sleeping. The attack carried out on the second night of the Jewish holiday Passover. At the time, the governor, his wife, 3 of their 4 children, 15 overnight guests, and 2 Pennsylvania state troopers were asleep inside the home. Balmer did not successfully penetrate the door. Balmer then tossing a second Molotov cocktail in a dining area before exiting the home. Photos of the residence showing extensive damage. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. Balmer turning himself into police about 12 hours after the break-in, admitting to authorities that he harbored hatred toward the governor. In a 911 call, in which he took responsibility for the attack, Balmer said he was upset about Shapiro's stance on the war in Gaza and that he, quote, will not take part in his plans for what he wants to do to the Palestinian people. The affidavit reading, quote, Balmer was asked specifically what he would have done if Governor Shapiro found him inside of his residence, to which Balmer advised he would have beaten him with his hammer. Here's Governor Shapiro addressing the guilty plea yesterday morning.
Sadly, as you know, our family is not the only ones to experience political violence that is used to try and silence people or intimidate people. I think it's important that in this time of rising political violence that none of us grow numb to it or accept this as the normal course of doing business for elected officials. I think we need real accountability for acts of political violence. And today is real accountability for the violence that came here to Pennsylvania. This is a just outcome. And I want you to know that our family fully supported the plea that he negotiated. We will forever be changed by this. We know that time will heal, but the scars will remain.
Balmer will not be eligible for parole until April of 2050. That'll do it for your AM update. I'm Mark Halpern, host of Next Up. Megyn, thank goodness, will be back tomorrow. You can catch the Megyn Kelly Show today live on SiriusXM Triumph, channel 111 at noon East, on youtube.com/Megyn Kelly, and of course on all podcast platforms.